He is right back here on the Rich Eisen Show. His new film in which he's acting and he executive produced, A Violent Man, is in theaters on February 8th. He is Thomas Q. Jones. Good to see you, sir.
Thank you. Good to see you, too.
Thanks for coming back here. So I kind of teased it in a way about how you watched the Eagles and Bears game with my guys over there. How'd you take in the game? And I assume you're rooting for the Bears because of your history with the Chicago Bears, right?
Yeah, bear down, man.
Okay.
Once a bear, always a bear. That's kind of like a Twitter hashtag. Hashtag bear down, hashtag once a bear, always a bear. So,
I like it.
I watched it on the plane last night coming back from Miami to L.A., and it was tough. It was tough. I mean, honestly, I think it's the playoffs, It's a crapshoot. Guys are going to be ready to play. Teams are going to be ready to play, whether it's a home or away game, and they played well enough to win. And to lose like that is, I know I feel bad for the fans. I feel bad for the players. Yeah, I mean, I was watching this like as if I played, and I thought they won. I thought when he hit the bar, I thought
it went through. You couldn't tell. Through. So now, when you say you watched it like you were playing, how do you conduct yourself on a plane watching this?
Well, you have
Thomas?
to internalize it. I'm
Were
like,
people going crazy watching this?
Well, yeah, the whole plane. I mean, everyone on the plane was watching it. And the two guys next to me were Eagles fans. And so I'm watching it, and I had a hat on and like a sweatshirt, and so they didn't recognize me.
Yeah.
And so anytime the Bears would make a play, I mean, they're turning around talking to each other. And he says, "Did you see that play?" And I'm just looking at him like, and then you're like in my mind, because I know that process. I know that process all too well, and I'm thinking, I catch the ball. Oh my God, you've got to make that play. It's the playoffs. It's literally a game of inches anyway.
Right.
What my old coach used to say. When you get into playoff games, it's a game of half inches. It's that close to winning and losing, and I'm watching it from a technical perspective, and they played well enough to win. I mean, you have to give the Eagles credit. But the Bears, they played well enough to win. They just, that last play.
I know. It's interesting you're here, Thomas. Brockman, I don't know if you saw this break. About 10 minutes ago, I got this email from the NFL Network that the league's game statistics group, there's a group of folks who watch the game and compile statistics. Mm-hmm. They're the ones who gave me a fantasy loss earlier this year when they took a touchdown away from Kyle Rudolph for recovering a ball in the end zone that they still thought that Latavius Murray broke the play. They have officially changed the statistic from a missed kick for Cody Parkey to a blocked field goal.
Oh, it was tied.
It's officially now a block, a Trayvon Hester block.
That Zapruder film has been going around the internet today.
It's now officially.
I saw someone say that on Twitter that it was tipped.
Do you think it's different? Do you think that makes it different for Cody Parkey now that it's officially in the books as a block kick?
No.
Well,
Why not?
It definitely altered the kick. If it was tipped, it altered the trajectory. So definitely. But I think, ultimately, that's a kick that you have to make. You have to make that kick unless it's just outright blocked or just tipped to the point to where it's, the trajectory is just way off.
Right.
That's a kick that you have to make. And when I saw him kick the first one, because I didn't have my earphones in, and I thought the game was over, and I didn't know they iced him. And so, and then when I saw his body language when he kind of ducked his head, I was like, oh, that's not a good sign. It's almost kind of like he's not looking forward to kicking it again. And I think in my mind I was like, and I think he has a history of kind of missing some kicks, over the course of the season.
He has. He had 10 earlier this year.
And it's sad because he seems like a really good kid, and that's a Bears town, man. That's a football town. And
so, what do you say to the kicker? Would you say something to him? Would you have said something to him?
I think now that I'm out of the game,
yes.
I definitely would. This is the thing about the NFL. The NFL is a business, and the only thing that matters is winning. No one remembers the losers; they only remember the winners, regardless of how well you played or how close you came. And although you have this brotherhood and this friendship within the locker room with your teammates, everyone's getting paid to do their job, and my coach, Jimmy Ray, used to always say, when you have the ball in your hand, you're playing with the house money. And that doesn't matter who you are, whether you're a quarterback, a running back, receiver, defensive back, whoever it is, kicker. Whenever the ball is in your hands in some capacity, you're playing with the house's money. You have the team's destiny in your hands. So we're relying on each other. So I think initially after the game, because that's just the humanity in you, and you love him as your teammate. But in reality, that he lost the game. I didn't do it. He did it. It's kind of like when we played in the Super Bowl. We made too many mistakes. And, but at the end of the game, we're driving to possibly win. This is how legends are made. Imagine, I think we're down 22-17, and we're driving, and it's like 5 minutes left or 4 minutes left or something like that. I don't know. We score and we go up. We're heroes forever. But, we have a pass that's thrown into double coverage, pick six the other way. And next thing you know, less than 10 minutes later, we're getting ushered off the field, and they're bringing the bleachers out, and confetti's dropping, and they're, okay, guys, get off the field.
Did you ever say something with Rex?
I haven't talked to Rex since the game, because I got traded about a month later to the Jets. But if I were to say that I didn't have any animosity, I would be lying. That haunts me every day, that I didn't win the Super Bowl. It's the one thing in my career that I just can't get back, and it hurts. It hurts. And ultimately, like I said, there's kind of this thin line between being your teammate and then how you really feel about the situation. Because there's politically correct things that you have to say, and then there's ways that you actually feel. So, even though a guy didn't intentionally miss a field goal, or a guy didn't intentionally throw a pick six, you missed a field goal, you threw a pick six, and we lost. And now I've got to go live the rest of my life knowing that I could have possibly won a Super Bowl in Chicago. If you win a Super Bowl in the city of Chicago, I remember we were playing the night before the NFC Championship game. We played the Saints, and at the hotel on every TV they had one channel that was playing the '85 Bears parade on Michigan Avenue. So subconsciously, that's what you're thinking. That's going to be us. That's going to be us. And then it's not. And then when you break down why, you can look at all the other plays over the course of the game. Should have made this play, should have made that play. But then when it comes down to it, when you had the chance, you didn't make the play. So that's a complex question with a complex answer.
Well, I love the complex answer. You're a complex individual, Thomas. So I'm mandated to ask this follow-up question. If you should somehow be at some sort of event, party, whatever, and Rex Grossman's across the room, do you go and say something to him?
I have no animosity towards him as a person. I definitely don't. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, it hurts, but it's over. You move on.
Yeah, you got a movie coming out.
I have a movie coming out. But ultimately, when you play the game at a certain level, and when you give so much of yourself to the game and your life to the game, and the ultimate goal is to win a Super Bowl so you can be a legend, etched in stone forever, and you don't get a chance to do that, as a human being, it's hard not to point the finger. And and sometimes, I mean, depending on the business you're in, that's what you sign up for. That's what you sign up for in the NFL, man. Now,
I know you weren't in the Ravens locker room, and Lamar Jackson could have won the locker room over, and I proffer to say he did, winning as many times as he did, 6-1 to wrap up the season and win the division and get to the playoffs. But do you think there are some players this morning wishing John Harbaugh had put Joe Flacco in that game?
Of course. I mean, obviously 2020's hindsight is 2020. There's always the woulda, shoulda, couldas. But ultimately it was just in that game, it just wasn't their time to win. They had too many turnovers. They didn't capitalize on opportunities. And Lamar Jackson did a great job to get him to that point. That's what we forget sometimes as well. It's always easy to kind of point the finger when things don't go well in that game. But then when you look at what happened to get to that point, just a week ago they were singing his praises. Going back to Rex, same thing. We were singing Rex's praises. So it's why I said it's complex. It's not as simple as just they should have taken the guy out. I made a remark when I was with the Jets, and I think it was a 2008 season, and we needed to win to go to the playoffs, and I think Brett Favre was having a tough couple of weeks, and he was having a really bad game. And I think I made a comment about them taking him out of the game and putting someone else in. And it created this firestorm in the media. And literally I was just saying in the heat of the moment, especially when it's a time like that, it's not like you just need to try anything to try to win. But that, might not necessarily be the best decision. So that's why I say,
So you were critical of them removing Favre from the game or not
removing
him?
No, I was critical of them not taking him out. Because I felt like, we, at that point, it was kind of like, what do we have to lose? And then they're looking at it like, well, you've got, I think it was Kellen Clemens or someone else. You're going to put him in over a Hall of Famer. And I'm like, well, you just never know what could happen within the course of the game. Maybe he throws a pass and it's a spark of the team. I don't know. You're thinking all kinds of stuff. That's why I said hindsight is 20/20.
Well, so is Google. What do you have over there, Chris?
This is from January of 2009. According to, you said it to Hot 97 FM. If someone is not playing well, they need to come out of the game. You're jeopardizing the whole team because you're having a bad day. To me, that's not fair to everybody else.
That kind of does apply to yesterday in a way.
It does. I mean, listen, like I said, in the heat of the battle and when emotions are high, yeah, you're thinking, I look at it, obviously they say the quarterback's a different position. You don't want to get in the quarterback's head. But if I have two fumbles, at the Jets, you can best believe Leon Washington's going to be in the next few series. If I had a few fumbles at the Bears, you can best believe Cedric Benson's going to be in the next couple series.
Yeah, you said the other day the 3 interceptions really hurt us. That's just reality. If I were to sit here and say, oh, man, it's okay, that's not reality. I don't like it. I know everyone else on the team doesn't like it.
Looks like you made Hot 97 that much hotter that day, Thomas.
They asked me a loaded question. But
He's out of the game and he's blaming the media.
I blame Angie Martinez for that. But honestly, now that I'm out of the league and I've been out for so long, there are just certain realities that you have to deal with, man. The industry, the NFL, is a win-win industry. It's a win business. You only remembered when you win. You're forgotten when you lose. But it's high risk, high reward, man. That's what you sign up for.
I'm taking a stab here, and I don't know the answer to it, and I'm loath to ask questions like that. Were you coached by Anthony Lynn?
Yeah, he was my running backs coach in 2009.
That's what I figured.
Yeah.
How about him now, huh?
Incredible. So proud of him, so happy for him. He was an incredible coach. When he came to New York in 2009, I had been coached by some really incredible running backs coaches. But he brought in kind of the zone blocking running scheme that they ran in Denver. And I had never really run that kind of scheme before. Obviously it's similar blocking to we really focused on the same kind of offense that Terrell Davis ran in Denver, that Clinton Portis had when he first got to Denver. All those backs that were just killing it for 1,000 yards. It didn't matter what back they put in. It seems like they were all getting 1,000 yards. Orlandis Gary, he brought that offense in, and I ended up having my best season. 1,400 yards and 14 touchdowns, and we developed a really close relationship. He actually coached my brother too, I think, at Dallas.
Yeah.
But I'm so happy for him and so proud of him, man. He's a brilliant football coach. He understands the X's and O's, and he's a very, very hard worker. And he comes from a school of great teachers. He was under Parcells and all those guys. He paid his dues, man. I'm really happy for him.
And it seems like, I'm going through my mind here. Is there a bias against running backs coaches, right? Normally you got to be the coordinator, you got to be a defensive mind or something like that, or an offensive line. But running backs, it's kind of like centers at head coach in the NBA. You don't see a lot of them for some reason.
Yeah.
Because, they feel like, I don't know, like you're dependent on somebody getting you the ball.
Yeah.
So you can't coach everybody or something?
I don't know. To be a running backs coach, you have to understand the blocking scheme. So you could be a lineman coach. You have to understand the defensive fronts.
Or the passing game, too. Marshall Faulk knows more football than anybody I've ever met.
Yeah.
And he knew everybody, what everybody had to do, what a defender had to do, what a lineman had to do, what a receiver had to do.
Yeah, I mean, as a running back, we're the last line of defense. We have to know what everyone's doing. We have to know what the quarterback's doing. We have to know what the receivers are doing. We have to know what everyone's doing.
Right.
A lot of times, I remember when Brett first came to New York, he got in there a little bit late and he didn't really know the plays, and so he'd call the formation the wrong way sometimes, and I would say we can't run it. It can't be X left. It's got to be X right. And I mean, we as far as the running backs are concerned, the running backs that are like the feature backs that are constantly in the game, first, second, third down. I mean, you have to be super smart, and you have to know the offense. You have to know audibles. You have to know the coverages on defense. You have to know the fronts on defense, and that's football. That's not just limited to a running back. That's football all around. So, yeah, I mean, if there is a bias against running backs being head coaches, I think Anthony Lynn is smashing that. He's doing a great job.
It's fun to watch. A couple more minutes left with Thomas Q. Jones here in the Coliseum Saturday night. Zeke, Todd Gurley, who do you take if you can only choose one?
I'm not a big Cowboys fan, but I'd have to go with Ezekiel
over Gurley.
I think they have momentum. I don't think the Rams were playing too well towards the end of the season.
I'm talking about just these two guys, their skill set, and who you take.
But I'm saying I don't think the Rams defense was playing that well towards the end of the season, and I think the way Ezekiel Elliott's playing with his line, I mean, he's got eyes in the back of his head, and he's got confidence. I think both of them are two of the best backs I've ever seen, just gifted runners. But I think Ezekiel Elliott, I mean, he has this way of finding cracks and finding holes, and he's deceptive speed and athleticism. And like I said, I mean, I think he's got momentum. Anytime you can win one playoff game, going in, and even though I think the Rams, you say they had a bye week and it's a home game. When we were my second year at the Bears in 2005, we had a bye week and the Panthers came and they beat us.
Hit you in the mouth.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think the Cowboys are pretty dangerous, and I think Ezekiel Elliott literally can end up going on one of those Emmitt Smith tears.
What do you got against the Cowboys? Didn't Julius play for him?
Yeah.
Your brother?
Yeah, he played there. I didn't play there. So I don't know. I think I think they're just kind of overrated. I'm no different than anybody else that hates the Cowboys or hates Notre Dame. You can put me in the category. So,
well, I'm half with you there with hating Notre Dame. I watch Rudy hoping he pulls the quad. I seriously, that's the way I do. Speaking of movies, A Violent Man, you're the executive producer, and it's your first feature film starring role.
Yeah, first feature film.
Good for you, man. I'm so happy for you. That's coming out on February the 8th.
Yeah, February 8th. It'll be on demand as well, same day on Amazon, iTunes. So you'll be able to get it online, and it'll be in theaters February 8th. I'm really excited about the film. Like I said, it's one of those twist endings. So when you have to watch it all the way through, and at the very end, I think a lot of people are going to be surprised. Okay. And it's one of those films that you watch the second time, and it's even better the second time because then you start to see certain things that you might have missed in the first time.
Chuck Liddell's in it for the sports fans. Denise Richards.
Yeah, Denise Richards is incredible.
Bruce Davison is in it. You know who Bruce Davison is? Chris Brockman. He's been in everything.
Yeah.
Was he one of that guy? He's that guy?
He played the person who was in charge of the scholarship for Costanza's deceased wife, Susan.
Of course.
For you Seinfeld fans. Right. Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
I knew you'd get that reference.
He's in Isak the Bankole. It was incredible working with Isak. Isak was in Black Panther. He's been in a bunch of Jim Jarmusch films. He's a world-renowned, incredible actor. Working with Bruce and Isak was incredible for me because I've been acting for about 5 years now, and I'm a trained actor, and this is my life now. I love producing, I love acting, writing, creating, and to be able to work with Bruce and Isak combined, I think they have like 80 years in the game, and to be able to work with those two guys in the same project and have different relationships with them, it just made me elevate my, game. It just made me step my game up to the next level.
Well, I'm excited for you. At Thomas Q. Jones on Twitter. Sony feature film Violent Man in theaters and on demand on February the 8th. I love when you come here. You've got tons of stories from back in your playing days. And on behalf of all Jets fans back in 2008 who were so fired up that Brett Favre was coming, it's great to know that he didn't know the plays and that he threw too many picks and he thought Kellen Clemens would be better. It's great to know
look,
that.
see what
Awesome.
see what
Just
you do.
so great.
No. I love Brett. I thought Brett brought so much to our team.
Oh, my God.
But I felt like in that game, we could have made another decision. Which, listen, like I said, I've been out of the game over 6-7 years. So, I still love Brett Favre.
Just so glad it all worked out.
Yeah.
Good to have you here. Thanks for turning the Rich Eisen Show into Hot 97 FM.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.